Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you guys for putting up with my later night in Michigan. We know it gets a little nicer out, so we still have light out. So I was like, man, if we can go to 8:30, I think that would be a better flow for everybody, especially with the winter we had. But this is going to be a fun one. I think you're going to like this in so many ways. It could be something that you think about as a family. This is something my kids know. I'm super proud of my oldest. She's both of my kids, obviously, but my oldest is taking some major courses in her college, and some of the courses she's taking, she's just killing it. And part of it, I believe, is that she really learned how to do a lot of these things in the 1%. Hopefully you guys like my new background, by the way. I'm just messing her out. Let me know if that's an actually good background or does it look dumb. I'm trying like that kind of thing. But what we're going to do tonight is called tracking positive progress, right? And so it's a mindset that we have to kind of get into. And before we start tonight, we're going to go into a couple of the articles I saw. By the way, this weekend was nuts. We went to my chiropractic convention, which is always full of great nuggets. And I have so much to share. Every time I go to these, it just gets you fired up. You meet these guys, 70, 80 years old, just still loving what they do. That's why I'm in this. I just absolutely love it. And this way, and I think I've got 2 people coming in for interviews. So I want to make sure that we keep doing that because I think that's a really fun time as well. Anyway, so here's our news for the week that we saw. This is interesting because of how much talking we've done on here on the gut microbiome, as that goes. They've just discovered that an imbalanced gut microbiome may be severely one of the major links to multiple sclerosis. So it's one of those that kind of, if anybody knows anybody with MS, it kind of hits them out of the blue. And there's some B vitamin issues. What it does is it takes the myelin sheaths away and it makes the myelin sheaths are like the sleeve around your nerve. And a lot of times that multiple sclerosis has some kind of indicator of, like holistically, there's a lot there that we were kind of trying to go, what is the cause though? What is the cause, right? So they never really, and this could be a good connector there. So just remember that. If you missed the Whole Health Weekly last Wednesday, you also missed this little tidbit because I've ran across it again. Sugary drinks, fake sugar drinks, people. The fake sugar, garbage. It's literally your immune system goes, what the heck are you doing to me, man? The sugary drinks are linked to 336,000 deaths per year. Okay. And that's through heart, cardiovascular, type 2 diabetes, all these things. Do your best to get rid of those fake sugary drinks. Fake sugar is not good. That's very, very true. Okay. So now this last one's interesting because I've been on a discovery for this one. And then I got one from Julie from Rumble that I want to bring up because I want to go over that one. So this one is a pretty quick one. So sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is rampant in our society. And I am going to do more and more diving in on this. I have a theory that I believe it's an imbalance in musculature of the mouth and upper neck muscles. Okay. Because of that, I've seen it happen where a patient may come in with a head, their neck hurts or whatever, and they sleep better that night. Now, this is a theory. It's not necessarily like me saying that that's the cause, but to hear that they don't snore as bad, right, after getting their neck adjusted in chiropractic terms, perked my interest. And there's a couple other things. We'll probably do a sleep apnea one to see. And so a lot of times what they're linking sleep apnea to is weak throat muscles. A few things, like actually lack of sleep. I think that's another one. And then what they said this time is vitamin D deficiency. So right now in our society, we use a CPAP machine, which, to each his own. We got to figure out how to fix this thing, right? The CPAP, they have oral devices like a mouthpiece. There's certain mouthpieces. Actually, a guy in Battle Creek has invented one that's very, very good for this same thing, to shift the jaw forward, right? And then open that jaw up. What was the other one? Oh, and then they actually found that they called it myofascial work or myofunctional work. So like muscle work around the head and neck plus getting chiropractic has a very good chance at doing something with this. But I can't say, oh man, I had these 7 people that got better from CPAP. From sleep apnea. So that one is something to talk about in the future as we keep working on it, because so many people have it. But once they get the CPAP and they get breathing again, it's like a miracle. So at this point, it's not a bad thing. It's just, let's find the cause of it. So I'm going to show Julie's comment here before we started. Hey, this is Julie. I have a suggestion for a program. Do one-on-one red light therapy, which I absolutely will. There are amazingly good benefits from red light therapy. Before we start, I want to go into some of those. Red light therapy is bringing up this new thing called photobiomodulation, which is using light to increase the energy of the cells. If some of you know, we have a one level up at the office from that, which is called the cold laser. The cold laser has this higher frequency rate that's really, really good. But the ones that I'm seeing at home for the red light therapy are fantastic. It's one of those things that I recommend it highly for a lot of people. And what we'll do is we'll do a whole presentation on it to show you the benefits, because it's all about the cells. I have a patient that actually fell down the stairs. She broke, I want to say, a lot of things, like really bad, broke several ribs, all these things. And she uses red light on a regular basis, even before it got super popular like it is now. And she does phenomenal. So remember that red light therapy stuff. It really does good. Anything that brings energy into the body, in a nice way. You can think of that, getting out in the sun. It's the same thing, right? So anyway, here we go. Let's talk about this in the positive progress, how to track positive progress. Hopefully this makes sense. It's a little family style, but my brain works this way in this aspect, and I hope that it makes sense to you guys. Okay, so here we go. So tonight, we're going through the concept, and this is a big thing, right? We're going through the concept of true health. Okay, so this concept that we're going to do, that's very kind of kid-friendly, is true health. It's fascinating. Where to start when looking at your journey to new health and vitality every single day. Understanding the importance of this key piece of info, like looking for true health always, and simple ways to keep track. All right, the concept of true health. We're going to introduce you to the concept of true health. I should have probably did a spell check. That would have been a good idea. For years, we have lived in a sick care model. And you know that if you've been here. The sick care model has ingrained in us that taking care of ourselves only when a problem exists is the way to stay healthy. They even call a well check, like a once a year well check. They're basically saying, what, are you sick or not? You're coming in to check to make sure that nothing's breaking on you, right? And that's one of the problems with like the well check. You're saying, oh, everything panned out. Nothing was broken or sick or weird. So that means I passed my well check. Well, wellness is a whole different aspect of that. Wellness doesn't mean that type of thing, right? We want to see how things are functioning, are thriving, those kind of things, not, hey, nothing's broken. Fantastic. Let's go on. How about a different concept? How about we take a look at the health in a different eyes altogether as a true health and healing concept leading to exponential health and growth and vitality. All right. So here's where it gets fun. The bucket. So there's a very famous, I think Jess is on tonight. If you are, give me a thumbs up or a heart, Jess, if you're still awake from two little kids. We've seen this book several times. This book, the book that they use in elementary school, was actually off of this concept that they never made into a book. The bucket represents your health. Okay. So this bucket across from me has several holes in it. Not just one. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 12 to 13 holes in there. Okay. What that is your health. And what these holes are represent all the different places that you have ailments. Okay. Or bad habits. Right. So remember our bad habits of tonight. Right. So we always talk about before we go on. Always got to remember this. So what's in chiropractic? What's the three things? What's the three things that cause all health and disease? Thoughts, toxins, trauma. Thoughts, toxins, trauma. That's what we like to call them. Stressors of the mind, chemicals or environmental toxins, and then trauma. So you fall, you have injury that way. Okay. So those are the three that throw the innate intelligence off to lack the communication that's there. Okay. So just remember that. So as you're looking, these are a lot of, when I bring this back up, this bucket has a lot of, they got 13 different ways that the innate intelligence of the body is getting interfered with every single day. So let's name some of these. Actually, I think that's in the next slide. Hang on. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So here we are. Look at my fanciness. I learned how to do all this. I was very proud of myself, by the way, to figure out this health bucket. Okay. So let's label some of these holes that are in the bucket that are literally leaking out life force, right? Energy that you could use to heal yourself is going out these little buckets, these little holes. So we have, let's say you smoke. There's a hole. Let's say you have a high stress job. There's a hole. Physical trauma, you fell. Boom, big hole. Mental trauma, abuse, something like that, big hole. Genetic problems. You can have gene problems. You got to remember in genetics, it's the program. It's the genetic program that's the problem, not the gene. Okay, that's different. Epigenetics, if you ever want to, as we're going, I'm going to grab that too. Make sure you're following my Rumble channel. I think I am up to like 36 people. I am so pumped about this because at some point I really want to do a Q&A session where we just talk about cool stuff. All right. There we go. Get my Rumble channel up and running. Okay, so how about this? So we're going to go so remember, if you get on there, there's Rumble channel, you can subscribe and then just put thumbs up and stuff, and I will be super famous with my 36 people. So let's go into some more holes. So we have chemical trauma. Let's say you were exposed to environmental chemicals as a kid. So that created a hole. Poor movement. You sit on your butt all day for your job. And now your movement is poor. Poor food, their processed chemicals that we talk about. I should have put sugary drinks. Sugary drinks is the downfall of America. Swear to goodness. Fake sugar, guys. Fake sugar is not real sugar. So your immune system doesn't know what to do with it. So it freaks out. I could save you all a bunch of time on that. Okay, just remember that. So those are all the holes in the bucket. Now, as we go, we're going to talk about this. The reason this is such a good concept. So with so many holes in our bucket, how can we possibly fill each one of those every single time? So now we have to try to figure out how to patch that. So that's our medical world. Some of these holes you don't even know are happening. So no matter how many tests and how many worlds, you're going to have holes in your bucket. No matter how many genetic tests, how many blood tests you get, how many MRIs you get, there's always going to be holes in the bucket. Okay. We don't know what radiation we're getting too exposed every day. Try our food, like all these things. Add this with our lack of education on taking care of ourselves as we grow up. Let's say we don't know any of this. My parents didn't know to keep me away from the 6-pack of Sprite. You know what happens when Jeremy had a 6-pack of Sprite back in the day? It was gone in an hour and a half. Maybe. I would suck that down like it was going out of style. So I am a true believer in sugary drinks and I had allergies back then because of that kind of situation. So we have to start getting our education around. One of the things that I talk about at length, if you don't think this is valuable, and you'll have more people watching How to Get Rich, online courses, like all those kind of things. But here's the rub. Understanding this piece of health and healing, Steve Jobs was one of the richest people in the world, but yet he never had control of his health, right? When we start looking and making this a focus, and a really, really big focus each and every day, not some little thing, but something big, something that's a priority as eating, as anything else, we start doing that. Steve Jobs owned Apple. I don't know if you know this, and he passed away of cancer, right? Super and way earlier than he should have. So he's just one example of there is no cost factor on health. We have to, it's not something you can buy. It's something you must be educated on and self-aware of. Okay. So not to get all serious, because pro athletes, great example. I was just telling a guy today, if you ever seen one of those offensive linemen, I just saw a kid get drafted 6'7", 330, I think he is. 6'7", 330 pounds. Works out all the time. What happens when he stops working out? Yeah. So if he stopped working out, what would happen to his weight? It'd be out of control, all those kind of things. Okay. All right. So let's get into my next slide, which I'm very proud of as well, because I did this. Okay. So now we're going to do the sick care model, the great American. Well, I shouldn't say American, because pretty much every country does this. So the great sick care model that we got. All right. So let's start patching some holes. So, okay. You have this, let's say this chemical caused your stomach bacteria to be off. So let's take a drug to make your stomach feel better. Okay. So we're going to put a Band-Aid over that. Oh, look at this. The gallbladder's acted up. Okay. So let's do this. Let's just take the gallbladder out. Makes total sense. Like the gallbladder just secretes bile and makes digestion, but it's hurting. So we might as well just get rid of it. And then that patches the hole. The problem is like, let's see how those patches go. You might need another patch to do another drug, right? So it's like this beautiful Ponzi scheme. And all of us know it. You take the one drug, you have 3 side effects to those one drug. And then after that, each drug has an additional 3 side effects. So you make this fantastic pyramid scheme out of the whole process. and they're all patching holes. So you keep building. And so in this model, it's like, especially in the side effect type situation, even surgeries have side effects, right? So you have drugs and chemicals, you put the patch on, but now you have 3 other holes that popped up. So you got to remember that as we go. Now, is there a time and place that you got to patch a hole with a drug or surgery? Absolutely. Right. But we have to know what to do. What do we got to do to make this a different reality? It's overwhelming. I just gave you 14 holes. Like, it's, in your head, you're like, oh my God, like how many holes? This is insane. Okay. This is where it gets really cool as a concept. So we need to stop chasing the holes, right? Our current system is designed to patch the holes when they come about. You come down with a symptom, we give you a medicine to improve the condition. In the scale, this may be needed. However, there is a better way. We have an issue that let's say we have an issue that requires surgery and we do that. But what are the ramifications? But these are the front line. This is the problem. These are the first things we go to, okay? This isn't like secondary, third, fourth. We didn't try a bunch of things. The symptom shows, and we do these things. And this is one of the problems. And what we're going to do tonight is show you how to change that paradigm in your brain. And hopefully you'll really, really like it. Okay. So, first thing we need to do is try to discover. Okay, so I'm going to take this away for a sec. So the first thing we need to do is try to figure out the holes that we have as best as we can. Figure out the holes, find out why they're there, and just have that self-awareness to it, right? If you know you smoke, you got a hole, okay, right? If you're eating like crap, you got a hole. And that's okay, right? Because we got to know these things. But when a symptom shows up, why did that symptom show up? Why did the hole show up? And so once we start deducing and we go back to saying what our chiropractic statement is, the body is perfect. It needs no help. It just needs no interference. Once we interfere, we start getting these symptoms or these holes. So what our job as humans is to find the cause, find why it's happening, and keep that journey going until that actually occurs. Okay. So now we need a different concept by understanding where true health begins and not where it ends. True health needs to be recognized where the cause of the situation is, not where it manifests as symptoms. Treating symptoms, in essence, is not bad at the time. It is the rest of the story that we must put our attention to. It's kind of like, the same thing that I always tell everybody. Your oil light came on in your car and you decided to put some tape instead. The solution in your mind was to put some tape over the oil light. As you go, it's gone. The oil light's gone. So you keep driving and all of a sudden smoke starts coming out of the engine. And so you go out, you go to the gas station and you go get a thing for your car, the thing that you hang in the mirror for the scents, the little pine tree. So you get that and that's working. So now we can't smell the car anymore. Smoke still's coming out of that bad boy. Now you start hearing some banging. So the banging starts happening. So, what we'll do is just make sure our radio is way up. And then you end up with breakdown, right? And so that's the problem. We need to see, let's go after the rest of the story. Yes, the symptom showed up, but why? Why did the symptom show up and what can we do about it? Now we're going to go into the next phase. So there's 2 phases, understanding the cause or the why, right? So we're going to try to go deep into those different holes or whatever. And then the next part is the most critical. The key, understanding that true health is dynamic. It's flowing every day. There is no rest for health in the healing of your body. If, it's a subconscious, it's beyond your conscious, it's your innate intelligence. It's constantly working to keep you as healthy as it can. So there is no such thing as a healthy and sick scale. There's just in between, if that makes sense. So a lot of people think you're either healthy or you're sick. Those are the two scenarios. There's no in between. When in fact, it's always in between. It almost never is. Sick or symptoms are you're to a point for whatever reason that it is the physiology of the body, the innate intelligence of the body is needing help so much that you're starting to have major issues and your body has to manifest it as a symptom. True health always is a moving target. You can feel the best you ever had the day before, and have everything, banging just as good, but all day, every day, within the hour, you could take that kind of scale. But always understand there's not health, I'm healthy and I'm sick. It's all the spectrum within there. Okay. Now let's look at it different. Let's look at, so now we understand we got to find the cause. We're constantly going to be working, right, on understanding what our situation is. We're going to begin to improve our health every single day. Every day. That's what the 1% improvement, the 1% tribe is all about. Why? Because true health can only be accomplished by two concepts: patching the holes the best way we can, as well as improving our health every day with self-care, making this the priority. Self-care. Okay, here we go. My magic, beautiful thing. So not only can we do things to patch the holes, which we'll talk about in a minute, because we found out the why, we found out the cause. The other key to this entire thing is keeping the bucket full, constantly flowing energy into that bucket. Does that make sense? It's kind of wild. It kind of blows your mind a little bit, because once you understand that it's a constant flow and what the examples I'm about to give you do, you'll see your health in a whole new way. You need to see this self-care, the constant flow of energy, as priority in our lives, right? And so we start to make these moves. We're going to make these big changes because we know it's the right move. To fill the bucket all the time allows the vital energy of your body, the vital energy of this innate, amazing, God-given body, the ability and the energy, even if it's leaking holes, regardless of those holes. And then our education in our brain telling us, all right, let's start reducing these holes the best we know how. Man, I get excited about this one. I apologize if it might seem simple for my herbal gut people that have been killing it. I learned a ton of herbals this weekend, by the way, guys, for gut microbiome. Just remember, we're going to have a good speech or talk on that one as well. Okay, so let's start with filling our bucket. Self-care changes your life exponentially. Okay, we need to start doing these small changes and constantly moving it, because you got to understand, in health, 1 + 1 = 3. It sounds stupid, but 1 + 1 = 3. 1% a day, and you continue that 1% to the next day. So now you have 2%, but it's really not 2%. It's like 2.3%, because you got all these health benefits from the first 1%. So your cells have changed. You started drinking, let's say you started drinking water instead of the sugary drinks. All of a sudden your cells are like, oh my God, I'm hydrated. So then tomorrow you add meditation into it, a 5-minute meditation. So not only are your cells hydrated, now you're getting this awesome mind that's starting to relax into what they call the parasympathetic nervous system, where the subconscious is able to kind of breathe, right? We've done breathing 1% tribe nights as well. But all these 1% tribe moves, the different tinctures, the different, all these different things, you start adding them together and they're much, much bigger than 1%. But if you did 1% improvement every day for a year, that's a 365% improvement. You can't even get a stock that'll do that. So just remember that. Okay. All right. So this is my favorite system. I love this. So we're going to go into it. I like using it. I call it the plus minus system. I don't know if this is what you'd actually call it. But before we go into that, what I want to give you an example of when we're talking about this, I have a patient and she is in her, I want to say late 80s. She smokes like a chimney. It's true. She smokes like 3 times a day. She eats perfect. She works out in the sense of she constantly is gardening, constantly moving in her house. This lady never sits still. Okay. But she smokes. She's 88. She might be one of the healthiest people I know. Now, is that fair for me to say? Because she smokes, we have this big thing, right? Yes, it is, because she's constantly putting flow. She's putting energy into her bucket. So that one hole, the smoking hole, constantly has energy to take from. Okay. Now, if she quit smoking, it would stop the hole and she would be even healthier. And that's true, right? It's kind of like the thing. If I said, all right, you're eating poor food and you start eating good food, you just took away the hole. Plus, with the move of eating the good food, you're filling your bucket. So it's like a twofold. Imagine feeling so good. It's almost like your bucket is like overflowing. You're just filling it with so much good energy, right? So how would you do that? Eat better, move better, think better. Those are the 3. There can be a lot of other things, right? You start doing the right vitamins and supplements. You start doing, and that's why you see this. This is anti-aging at its best. This is the anti-aging secret, in my opinion, is constantly filling that bucket. When you stop filling the bucket is when you start seeing the major sick. And then you got to go into the sick care world of whatever we have, because we never teach this kind of thing, right? We don't start our world this way. So the more you do these things, and how do you stop the bucket? How do you patch the holes? You do better things. There's not, some of the genetic ones, they're so subconscious program, you may not be able to do anything about those. What if you had a fracture? That's nothing, there's nothing you're going to do to change that. So you're going to have some holes that aren't able to be filled. But at the same time, you can fill your bucket and get as many holes that you can do gone. So, all right, give me a heart or a thumbs up if everybody's liking this. I'm a little nervous because I love this stuff, so I apologize. Okay, so here we go. We are going to go into my favorite. It's called the plus minus system, or some kind of system. I don't know who called it this. Okay, so this is what I do. And I do this. I honestly do. So in probably a note card, I love note cards. They, so we'll start with that. So probably a note card, notebook. You know what I mean? My favorite is note cards because then I can put a date. I can use them on both sides. Those kind of things. What I'm going to do and what we're going to do is write positive and negative. Okay. So let's say you don't know where the holes are coming from. You don't feel good all the time, those kind of things. We can at least write down the positives, right? So, and the negatives that you find yourself doing in a day. Okay. So that's where this starts, and you can really see the difference. Okay. So let's do the minuses for the day. So we're going to have some minuses for the day, which would equate to being holes in your bucket. So the minus of the day, let's say you woke up, you didn't sleep because you watched a Red Wings game. So you have a lack of sleep. You smoke. Let's say you smoke we'll just give you 1 minus for that. Let's say, right for right now, just for this example, if I was doing this in real life, I smoke 3 times a day, I'd put 3 minuses. Okay. If I lost 2 hours of sleep that I'm used to, I'd put 2 minuses. Or just 1 hour, I'd put a 1 minus. Let's say I did a latte in the morning and a Snickers at lunch and some cookies at night. So that would be 3 minuses typically, but for this one, we're just going to put a minus. Sitting in front of a computer all day depends. I would say there's a lot more minuses than you'd think. And it's really one of the causes of what's happening in our world now. I don't know if I've told you this one. In 2016, there was a study that said that sitting is actually worse than smoking, which is fascinating. Let's say it's a high stress job. So now we have a minus for that. Okay. So right now we're just using 1 minus, but you can get as detailed as you want on this. And the more detailed, probably the better, I would think. So this day that I'm showing you, we have 5 minuses. Okay. So now let's go over to the plus side, because plus it can't be just bad, right? So let's say we meditated this morning right after we lack of sleep. So there's a plus. We ate some veggies. We went after some vegetables today that maybe you didn't do before. So now we have a plus. We drank a lot of water. We did pretty good on our hydration today. So I'll give myself a plus on that. And I had a good multivitamin. So now I've got a little plus there, right? But here's the problem. So now we go down and we take the 5 minuses and add the 4 pluses together, and you still get a -1 day. Okay. That's why this works so well, because you could be kicking butt and taking names in. I've done this. So one time, especially when I learned this, I remember I was so excited. It was a busy day. I didn't eat really well. So didn't eat good. I had a donut or something. So I get all the way through the day and I was so pumped. I had like this 1 hour great workout session. Right. And then you did the plus minus and you're like, oh man, I ate so crappy that day that I ended up with like a 2 minus day, which was not ideal when you just patted yourself on the back because your workout was fantastic. You see how it can mess with you a little bit? So what you can have is like your food's so crappy and you took away sugary drinks and you did hydration. So you're proud of yourself. But when you see it in real life, you say, oh, it's a minus, right? So that's what you want to see that though, because it's all exponentially. You can all reverse it too, guys. So that's the biggest thing. Understanding that this is all reversible, but you have to know it's happening. That's our problem. We try to kind of ignore how our day is actually going. Okay. So let's go to the next example. This is a good one. All right. So minuses for the day are lack of sleep, smoke, fake sugar, sitting in front of a computer, and high stress. Okay. So we still have our 5 minuses. But what we did this time was we meditated. We ate some vegetables. We got good hydration. So we drank a lot of water. We got a really good multivitamin. This time we exercised. Okay. So we exercised on top of everything. And we did a little stretching routine. So all of those equaled 6 pluses, which allowed us to get to the 1 plus. The +1 in the day is huge. Because if I do 1 plus that day and I do another +1 the next day, it starts to do the exponential thing, right? And unfortunately, if you don't have a lot of those pluses in your pathway, you're not going to get that exponential. If it's back and forth or a bunch of minuses, we're going to have, unfortunately, you can have an exponential the other way too. So that's one reason why this is such an important thing. Okay. So the +1 would make us pretty happy. That means your body won the day. The cells of your body got to win this day, right? They're better off than they were the day before. Okay. And that you could only do through self-care and self-improvement every single day. All right, here we go. This one's a cool one. So let's say, so our minuses this time are lack of sleep, we smoked, we stopped the fake sugar, and we sit in front of a computer still, and high stress. But we kept going on our other stuff. We did the meditation, the eat veggies, all those things, the exercise and the stretching. So we kept our +6. So now our -4 day plus 6 pluses equals a +2 day. What could you do with that? That's going to move you even more exponentially towards better health each and every day. Okay. So, and a lot of times, remember, it's exponential. So exponential means they feed off each other. So what I mean by that too is if I have a +2 day and you're like, sweet, let's tear it up in the let's celebrate. The next day, I'm just going to eat like crap, smoke two cigarettes at a time. We're going to party like a rock star. We're going to go drinking. That's going to lead you to a minus day, right? And it's not going to lead you to the exponential growth that it would be if you had multiple days in a row. That's why consistency in this pathway. Are you going to be on every time? No. However, the more pluses we can get, the more exponential that curve goes. All right. So how do we keep track? I showed you one way. I like note cards. I like those. You can get them at Staples really easy. Just don't steal them all. I use them all the time for a lot of stuff. How I like sticky notes too. Sticky notes are a great way to start the process, but you got to get that baseline, right? We got to find out what you can track as your holes. Okay. So you want to get as many holes as you possibly can think of in there. So you want to talk about your genetics, how your diet is, if you smoke, if you sit all day, like all of these things, make sure they're part of your counting so that you can really feel confidence once you get those plus days, right? And what it takes to get those plus days. So if you smoke, eat like crap, don't sleep, and have a high stress job, that's a lot of minuses. And that's going to make a lot of pluses that you're going to have to make up unless you start patching some of those holes. Does that make sense? So some people are sitting in a very negative situation and they don't do a lot of the over health. In fact, most of America has this problem where it's a negative situation, right? So just remember that as we go. And this really works good in kids. They understand it. They do. I'm telling you, my daughters, both of them, understand this very good. So you have to track the holes in your bucket, get them down. So genetics, conditions that you have that you can't have let's say you have no control of, some bad habits, work, diet, TV time, relationship. How's that going? Environmental problems. Is there any chemical stuff? And then write them all down. And then we start working on that every day. Now, throughout the day, have the sticky note in your pocket or some kind of, that's why I like a note card, because you can stick it in your pocket and write down the pluses as well. So because it's in your pocket, sometimes it brings it up to a frame of mind. All of a sudden I drink more water than I did the day before. Or, let's say you have a great day at work. It's fantastic. Everything's flowing nice, high-fiving each other. All of a sudden you eat great. You didn't eat a lot of bad stuff. You ate really clean. You drank a lot of water. That was good. You did some exercise. Your wife didn't kick you out of the house or, whatever that is for relationships. You change those habits. That's you patching those holes, right? And that's what's so beautiful about being able to, this self-care thing is really about self-control. It's about taking back the control of your health. So as I finish tonight, what are we going to do? What are we going to do for our 1% tribe tonight? We are going to do some changes to your lifestyle, track, self-evaluate all of these things. And what would be fun on this one, because it sounds so crazy. I love all the other nerd ones we get into, the different conditions and all those kind of things. But this one really, I've seen it work so well in so many people. and literally could be a key to anti-aging. You know, we have gotten into this point where we're so almost afraid to confront the health of our human body. We're never where we want to be, right? And so what happens is it's easier to ignore it instead of saying, all right, here's what I got and here's where I want to go, right? It's so much easier to ignore it. And it's hard. It's hard. And it's a difficult pathway. Somebody's overweight, they don't want to, they don't want to deal with it, you know? And the hardest part of that is if you say, I don't want to deal with it, then your body's not going to do any different with that, you know? So it doesn't really matter what the holes in your bucket are, you know, but if you're able, and you'll be surprised at how many holes close based on the healing habits of getting up to a +1 or +2 in your lifestyle. So think about that. All of a sudden I start I'm negative for my whole life. All these conditions start popping up. I'm starting getting arthritis and fibromyalgia and irritable bowel syndrome and all these different things. All of a sudden I start improving. I'm starting to drink water, multivitamin, start exercising a little bit. I start getting pluses in my day versus all these other conditions that are lined up for you. Once those pluses start happening, what happens in conditions? It's like a miracle. And it's really you. And it always has been you. You know, that's one of the neatest things in chiropractic that I always find fascinating. They're like, Jeremy, you're a miracle. I can't believe how good my back feels, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, if you only knew, it's all about you. The reason that person, I'll even give you an example. I had a kid last week. I thought, woof, his back is so bad. This kid, he had a commute of like an hour and a half. And he literally, his leg would go numb where he could not feel his pedal. It's very concerning to me because I'm, you know, as a doctor, you're like, okay, that's pretty intense. And they had it for almost like 6-7 months. So we had to go through the walkthrough of like, hey, I don't know, you know, we might have to go to doctor, you know, medical doctor type situation if this happens, you know, it keeps going. But then I go, so what's your lifestyle like? So he loves playing hoops. They try to eat as good as they can, you know, and it was just this one injury they had like 6-8 months ago. And so I'm like, this is interesting. So I'm still concerned, even though I hear all the good things. Diet sounds good. They sleep good. This guy enjoyed his job very, very much. Loved his job. The only problem in the whole thing is this commute. And so I'm like, man, this is crazy. So we start walking through like what the medical approach would be. Like, all right, we got to think about an MRI and getting with your medical doctor and all those kind of things. So I adjust him, and this is fascinating. So I see a lot of people. I see quite a few people, and I love that part. And so sometimes it goes, you know, time goes by pretty quick. So I saw this person on, I want to say not this Thursday, but Thursday before. And I'm adjusting people. Monday, Tuesday comes around. I says, something's off. I didn't see that kid. And I'm like, wait, that's the kid. Because you get kind of concerned as a doctor. I'm like, okay, like I haven't seen the kid yet. And so I'm like, okay, once I'm done for the day, I may make a call. So I've got to make a call, make sure he's okay. Did he make it through his adjustment grade? Is he hurting worse? From what I saw and the symptoms that were there, I was like, for sure, this is going to be a thing. You know, we're going to be in here for a little while. Here's what's crazy. So I go into the room, the next part, and it's his wife. Okay. So his wife is in the room, and I hadn't met him. They were getting adjusted by, I think, Dr. Rachel before. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so-and-so's wife. And she goes, yeah. I go, how is he doing? Oh my God, I got to know. Like, is he in the hospital? Like, what is hospital? He said he felt fantastic. He hadn't felt that good in a long time. I'm going, not with the symptoms he had. I wouldn't think that would be a thing. But he goes, oh my God, Jeremy, he eats correctly all the time. This guy wants to get better, like you wouldn't believe. Water. Like, and I even challenged her because I was like, was he lying to me? On this kind of thing. And he wasn't. And so it is hilarious. And so he's like, okay, he's coming this day. I'm like, okay, that's cool. This is like, Nem? She's like, no. I'm like, wow. And she's like, he's calling you all kinds of miracle. I go, I wish I could take credit for that. When your body and your cells work that well, would to have a 6-month issue like that, think about the magnitude of that. It's your body. I'm just putting the things back together, right? So you're just aligning, you're just making it all back to where it needs to go. And then your body takes care of the rest. And if you take care of that body, look what you get to have. So there you go. I know. So that's my 1% tribe tonight. I want you to make sure that you're checking every box. Make your own plus minus system. I swear to you, it'll change your life. It changed mine. I don't even know where this came from. And there's a book, Jess. Thank you. I'm glad you love it. That is so cool. One of the things is what I'm talking about. There's a book on emotions for kids. It's called Filling Your Bucket. And when my daughters were going through school, I go, oh my gosh, that is so cool that they would have that exact thing. They, when you give compliments to other kids, you're filling other kids' buckets, right? And if you are giving down, like negative, I think that's how it went. If they did negative comments, then it was, you're putting holes in kids' buckets. So very cool concept. Hopefully you understand how this whole health and healing can really change your life. It really can. And I'm a little more fired up this week because I got to see some amazing people. When you see, 75-year-old, 80-year-old chiropractors just still doing it. I met one of my guys. He's a super genius. He's like a chiropractor out of Kalamazoo. He's retired twice now. So one of the more brilliant men I've ever met. And he decided he was going to retire and sell his practice. But when he meant retired, he meant work 2 days and sell the practice to a kid. So the kid comes in, buys the practice from him about 15 years ago. And now the kid wants to move. So he is selling the practice after 15 years. And guess who's still there? The doctor is still there 2 days a week. And he's now working for a new boss when he was the original one that sold the practice to the kid. So I thought that was so cool. I've never heard of that where you're the guy that comes with, you're like the bonus that comes with buying the practice. It's like, okay, well, the original owner is going to work 2 days a week, regardless of what like if you're here or not, or, those kind of things. I was like, but it makes sense for this guy because he's that in love with the profession itself. So with that said, thank you guys for hanging out for the later time. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know in the comments if you like that time, because I really do. We may move it back, like if it gets in the winter time. But for right now, 8:30 is really good. So you guys have a great night.